Zack Freak Me Out Snyder. I'm a real DCEU fan in that respect. I really love the science of the DCEU, and that's the thing that other comic book movies and universes just do not provide for me. I mean, they tried to do it with the Fantastic Four. Where they fell apart was at the end of the Fantastic Four. But they tried to blend in the science, and for the most of the movie, it was really tight. But this, Zack Snyder, man, I remember when he did Man of Steel, the super speed, and watching the Kryptonians fight at super speed was sick. And now Zack does another crazy thing here with the Flash. For the first time ever on film, he captures the super speed of Flash in such a manner that we're able to feel how fast he really is. You can see the distortion of space as he's taking off. You can feel it because he uses the special effects of light and also of movement, animation, okay, to create this. What I'm going to do so you can appreciate the physics of it is I'm going to move it at super slow speed. So here we are. We're going to look at this in super slow speed here. Excuse me. There's the Flash moving very, very fast here. Okay, he's about to take off. Now, I really want you to see something. Now, you can see that the place is lit up a bit because, of course, he's a Flash. So there's lightning bolts or flashes of lightning around him. But more so, I want you to see his super speed and the effect of it if somebody was to move at the speed of light, for instance, right? There it is. He shot off like a bullet, right? You know he's gone. Now, you can still see a blur of himself going there, but he's gone a long time ago. Since he's moving at the speed of light, in 1 light second, he's far, far away from where you are. But the effect, the imprint that is left is a distortion in space and time, leaving almost an imprint of himself, or a shadow of himself, if you want, of him leaping off. And that's the insane thing about Zack Snyder. Of course, light has been distorted as well. Now, for you to understand the physics of this, think about it this way. When you look up into the sky, you see stars up in the sky. What you do not understand is some of those stars you see, the light coming from them, is what you're seeing, but the stars themselves have long since died and are no longer present in the sky. But the light, it takes a while for the light to travel to you. So if someone's moving at the speed of light, their actual position is not something you will be able to pinpoint, mainly because it will take light a certain amount of time to get to you so that you can pinpoint their actual position. By that time, they may be somewhere else because they're also moving at the speed of light. So this Zack Snyder is able to capture. And he's done it so remarkably well that for the first time on the on the big screen, we are seeing the Flash move faster than you are able to pinpoint and see him. And he's able to exaggerate it using these special effects of light and distortion of space, which is awesome. It's really awesome. All right, guys, I got one more for you guys, but let's just look at it in real time because you can actually feel it in real time. You can feel excuse me, you can feel the distortion in real time. Isn't that awesome? You can actually see space distort a bit as he's going. See the distortion of space? Pew! Pew! And you see the distortion right there. So if you just look right here, you'll see it distort. So he's able to exaggerate that effect. You have to excuse me. I have a nasty cough because I have a virus. Now here's the Flash again, and you can see that distortion in space again. Zack is able to distort it, even as he's lighting up. But again, if you look at it in super slow speed, it's so cool. You actually see the imprint with colors this time. Let me do it at super slow speed here so you can see. Okay, you can see the distortion there, but I want you to see the super in super slow speed how fast he's moving. So you'll see an imprint of him. Okay, now he's gone already here. What you're actually seeing is an imprint, but I want you to get the full effect of it. So I'm going to try again. There he is. Now you just see a ghost. But he was long since gone since the first imprint. And you can see the lightning is still around him. The electricity is still around him. But he's long since gone. He's far away from this vicinity now. He's moved that fast that he's completely gone from the vicinity. Zack Snyder is able to capture that. That is why the DCEU is not like any other cinematic universe or any other comic book movie out there. Because Zack Snyder, he's not just taking willy-nilly fantasy concepts. No. Physicists and scientists and all of these people are put together to visualize what would happen if someone was to move at the speed of light in front of another person. This is the effect you would get. And they're able to exaggerate that effect. That's what's so cool about Zack Snyder. That's what's so cool about the DCEU. This ain't no kiddie flick. And that's why when you listen to the gentleman who plays the Flash, Ezra Miller, talk about the psychology now. The psychology of a person who can do these things. It's very interesting and very intriguing. And it is these things, because there's a subscriber of my channel who comes and he hates my videos for reasons I just dislikes my videos and he goes away. And he tries to bring arguments of why comic book movies, they're cheesy and they're fantasy. But he doesn't understand that when somebody applies the psychology of an individual in this state, it's intriguing. When somebody applies, somebody with an ability to do X, Y, and Z, able to move at the speed of light, for instance, how would that look? That appeals to the science, and that's where it becomes less of a cheesy film and more about speculation into science and how this could actually be a reality. And the thing about science fiction versus comic book movies is science fiction shows us possibilities for the future. That we can actually have people who actually levitate in space and fly. That we can actually have people who can move at the speed of light. And while right now we don't think that's possible, who knows in the future? So, for people to understand what I'm saying, when I hear somebody say, oh, this guy, he just dressed up as a bat. Well, no, not exactly. This is someone who is a vigilante and is scaring people, obviously, who are criminals and so on, and using contraptions and devices to do so. And we're seeing the inner workings of that person. And that can actually be applied to everyday life with people who are policemen, the police services. And if you look at police cars, they're dark. And some police cars are black. And they drive through the night. Again, the intimidation factor. So, again, the psychology of it is real. And so when people talk about comic book movies, I wasn't interested in comic book movies because I thought it was for kiddie flipping. I thought it was for little kids. You know, it's something to feel good and feel proud and say, dun, dun, dun. You know, that's the typical rubbish, right? I'm not into that, okay? But Zack Snyder got me interested in comic book movies once again, not for the thrill ride, but because of the science behind what he was doing. How he explained the telekinesis. How he explains telekinesis using Superman. Superman, he's already in an environment where the gravitational pull is weaker. His muscles are stronger. He's like a solar panel, and he's able to generate energy, and then he can use this energy in telekinesis to manipulate electromagnetic fields so that he can hover, levitate, fly, etc. Okay, so when Zack Snyder shows Superman putting his hand down, and you see the ground start to move, the rocks and stuff start to move around him, it's because he's manipulating through telekinesis the electromagnetic fields around him, and so he's able to levitate off the ground with that because he's receiving electromagnetic radiation from the sun in the form of light energy. So again, as a scientist, this appeals to me, and to see it visualized on a screen is a whole other kettle of fish, you know.